My husband's coworker tried to replace me in my own marriage while gaslighting me out of my sanity. So I gathered evidence and set fire to their house of lies in the most devastating way possible. When I was at my husband's work party, I noticed something very odd. His colleague Catherine, who I knew was recently divorced, seemed way too comfortable with him. She finished his sentences, laughed a little too hard at his jokes, and kept finding excuses to touch his arm. It wasn't just casual, it was intimate in a way that felt intentional. At one point, I caught her giving me this quick smile when Stephen turned his back, like she knew something I didn't. On the way home, I brought it up. I tried to sound calm, not accusatory. Stephen just laughed and said, "That's just how Catherine is. She needs people right now." I didn't want to be the jealous wife, so I let it go. But the uneasiness stayed. Over the next few weeks, Stephen started working late more often. He mentioned Catherine constantly. He started quoting her, repeating things she said like they were profound. He picked up new music tastes and started talking about hiking, which he used to hate. I brushed it off at first, but it felt off. Then one day I called him at lunch like I usually do, and Catherine answered. She sounded casual, like it wasn't weird at all. She said Stephen was in a meeting and had left his phone. Later, he told me the same thing. Still, it nagged at me. Then the texts started. Catherine would text him during dinner, late at night, on weekends. It was always work stuff, supposedly. One night during our daughter Emma's birthday dinner, Stephen got up and left the table because Catherine said it was urgent. Emma was halfway through blowing out her candles. That night, while Stephen was in the shower, I did something I'd never done before. I checked his phone. There were hundreds of messages. Some were about work, but a lot weren't. She told him jokes, complained about being lonely, sent him playlists. They talked about everything. I confronted him. I was shaking. I read one of the messages aloud and he snapped. He said I had violated his privacy, that I was paranoid, that it was a professional relationship and I was reading into things. After that, Catherine started creeping into our lives in other ways. She sent Stephen articles about parenting, clearly targeting things I had done. She showed up at restaurants we were at. She'd suggest family-friendly events that Stephen would suddenly want to do, and then ask why I hadn't thought of them. I felt like I was being erased. Every time I brought it up, Stephen made me feel small. He told me I was insecure and controlling. Then one day, Emma came home with a new stuffed animal. I asked her where it came from and she said, "Daddy's friend from work gave it to me." She picked me up from school. My stomach dropped. I had a job interview that day. I had told Stephen I wouldn't be able to do pickup, but I never agreed to Catherine stepping in. When I confronted him, he admitted it, said it was a one-time thing, said I was overreacting again. I talked to my best friend. She told me maybe I was seeing something that wasn't there. That made it worse. I started questioning my own mind. Eventually, I saw a therapist. She listened. She believed me. She said I wasn't imagining it. She said I was being gaslit. With her support, I started writing everything down. I took screenshots. I noted every time Catherine pulled Stephen away. It all came to a head when I caught Catherine lying about a family emergency to get Stephen to leave during Emma's preschool performance. We'd talked about that performance for weeks. He promised he'd be there. She called him crying and he left. I sat there alone in the little auditorium while Emma searched the crowd for her dad. Then came the final crack. At a work dinner where spouses were invited, I overheard Catherine talking to a coworker. I was standing behind a partition just out of view. She was laughing and said, "He'd be better off without his clingy wife. I'm just biding my time." I stepped forward. She saw me. She didn't flinch. She looked me in the eye and said, "He'll never believe you. You're just the paranoid wife. I'm the one who gets him." Later that night, I told Stephen everything. I showed him the texts, the notes, told him what Catherine had said. My hands were shaking. I begged him to listen. He didn't. He called me crazy. He said I was obsessed. He accused me